Hello, I'm OT Speaks, also known as OSpeaks. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, share. What's going on, Phoenix Rising? Bolo, what's going on, sir? How you guys doing? So as I started out my live yesterday saying happy January 6th, today I'm going to say happy belated January 6th day. So today we're going to talk about a couple things, but I want to start off with the Kamala Harris certifying of Donald Trump's presidency. So we're going to start off with that. Oh, by the way, the topic of today's live stream, the title of today's live stream is Kamala certifies Trump's win. Sonny Hostin is still unhinged and delusional over January 6th and the election outcome. So without further ado, I want to go straight to Kamala Harris certifying Donald Trump as the 47th president of the United States. Let's get to it.
I'm very clear about this. Donald Trump should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. He has not earned the right. He's not earned the right. And that's why he's going to lose.
He's going to lose.
Members of Congress, the certificates having been read, the tellers will ascertain and deliver the result to the President of the Senate.
The undersigned, Deb Fisher and Amy Klobuchar, tellers on the part of the Senate, and Brian Steele and Joseph Morelle, tellers on the part of the House of Representatives, report the following as the result of the ascertainment and counting of the electoral vote for President and Vice President of the United States for the term beginning on the 20th day of January, 2025.
Such a beautiful day.
The state of the vote for the President of the United States, as delivered to the President of the Senate, is as follows. The whole number of the electors appointed to vote for President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, the majority is 270. The votes for President of the United States are as follows. Donald J. Trump of the state of Florida has received 312 votes.
Ooh,
Kamala D.
good.
Harris.
Gotta cheer that on. Gotta cheer that on. He was gonna try to speed through it, but nah, we're not gonna speed through this one. Did she just gavel?
Kamala D. Harris of the state of California has received 226 votes.
Oh, what a great day, what a great day.
The whole number of electors appointed to vote for Vice President of the United States is 538. Within that whole number, a majority is 270. The votes for Vice President of the United States are as follows. J.D. Vance of the state of Ohio has received 312 votes. Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota has received 226 votes.
Aww.
This announcement of the state of the vote by the President of the Senate shall be deemed a sufficient declaration of the persons elected, President and Vice President of the United States, each for a term beginning on the 20th day of January 2025, and shall be entered together with the list of the votes on the journals of the House and the Senate. Thank you very much.
Good. All right. All right, so I just wanted to show that. There's really no reason for it. So I went live yesterday, and yesterday we talked about the I don't want to say the downfall because he's been out of it for the 4 years. So we talked about Joe Biden and his decline and how they covered it up. And they were talking about January 6th because that's what they go to. And today they continued it. Yesterday they made a really, 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 really big deal out of Kamala doing that, which it's her job. I don't understand why that was a big deal. Mike Pence did it as the vice president. But for whatever reason, they decided that they're going to put January 6th on par with all these other catastrophes throughout history. So that's what we're going to go over today. When we let me move this up. Sorry. So this is what they did. They tried to stop it. They couldn't stop it, and here we are. So I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to react to these videos. It's phenomenal. I love it. I really, really, really needed to play that because it was really, really great.
I think before we canonize St. Kamala here on the high holy day of January 6th, let's remember the Electoral Count Reform Act of 2022 makes it perfectly clear that the vice president has nothing but purely ministerial duties on this day. She didn't actually certify the results of the election. That's done by the voters and the people of the
It was clear as day 4 years ago as well. But because of the
that's the thing. I mean, nobody's trying to canonize her. The same thing was true for
they're not. I mean, she put out a video trying to canonize herself.
She was actually just saying it's unremarkable. That's true.
That's the opposite of canonizing.
I want to actually congratulate the Democrats today. This is the first election since 1980.
He's doing this again.
This is the first election since 1988 that a Republican won, and Democrats did not try to overturn the results on the floor of the Congress. So congratulations, Democrats.
I'm only interrupting you because we've heard this before.
We've played this.
Well, you've heard the truth before, but I thought it was worth repeating.
Here's the thing. Parliamentary disputes.
So sad.
There were not parliamentary disputes.
Mr. Speaker, a point of order.
No. That's not what happened. They tried to stop the counting of the votes.
What's going on, Taryn? So I actually looked it up, and he was right. Since 1988, decades and decades, every single election that Republicans won for president and a lot of governors and a lot of Senate seats, the Democrats protested. And they just outright said they didn't win, and they challenged them. Is that election denialism? Were they election deniers? And on this channel, I've played montages of them doing this. I can go show you guys 15 minutes straight of Democrats denying elections. Let me move this over here. Maybe I'll show you guys where it is on my channel. But this is what they do. And for some reason, they chose that as their strategy to keep Trump away and to villainize him. Let's see, videos, because I know I have it. Let's see. You know what? Let me look at playlists. and I'm not exaggerating when I had at least 15 to 20 minutes straight of them denying the election or several elections. Correcting racism, Abdul, that was a good one. Luke the hypocrite, that was a really good one. Oh, illegal immigration, that was a really good video. Pandering, no, nonstop anti-Trump rhetoric, no, policy so sharp. We played that one yesterday. Racism with Joe Biden, that was a good one, really good one. You guys should look at my videos. How you doing, Miss Chicago? What's going on, Taryn the Black? I'm looking for a video I don't have. No, I thought I had a full. No, I guess not. Oh, well. That was impromptu. So, either way, I played montages on live streams and on videos of Democrats denying elections. But again, this is the strategy that they chose to use against Trump. One thing I would disagree with Scott Jennings on, because he said, that the main issue that he had was in 2022, they corrected the ambiguities between what the vice president can and can't do when he's certifying elections. And what he did, you ready for the snow? Ain't gonna be no snow down here. And they decided what the vice president can do on January 6th is just administrative, just reading it off, making the declaration, moving forward. And one thing I can disagree with him on is Trump had several trials where they attempted to put him in jail, in prison. Several. They took millions and millions of dollars from him from other claims by people from 20, 30, 40 years ago. I spoke on my last live about how they tried to sentence him. Obviously, they're going to sentence him this Friday. So if you didn't know that, Taryn, whoever else is in here, they're gonna sentence Donald Trump this Friday in the New York case. That's what my live was about yesterday. On top of Joe Biden being not a sentient human being, not knowing what's going on around him. Weekend at Joe's presidency. But he was called a traitor. And from day one, when he won in 2016, they connected him to Russia. And what was that entire nonsense claim about? Well, it was about him not losing the election. Or no, sorry, Hillary not losing the election. It was election denialism. It's what they were doing the whole time. So every time we were said to be election deniers in 2020, I guess that was okay for them. But from 2016 till now, that's all they've done. Russia was literally about saying that he stole an election. If he gets sentenced, does that mean he won't be president? No, it has nothing to do with him being president. You can be a felon, you can be in prison and still become the president of the United States. What they're trying to do is just simply be able to say, you guys, you evil MAGA people, you evil Latino men, you evil Latino or black men, all you people who voted for this convicted felon, you're the first to ever get a convicted felon into office. And that's what this is all about. What's going on, Mike Nice? And they're going to do it this Friday. The judge didn't even require him to show up, which is absolutely ridiculous because he didn't say he didn't want to show up. So he had 100 indictments. It was just nonstop through several states, federal government going after him. The other thing that happened, that's Mike Nice again, is when they tried to blame him for January 6th, it came out during their own hearings that Pelosi and the DC mayor were offered security by Trump. They declined. And the Capitol Police, the chief of the Capitol Police at the time, said that Nancy Pelosi denied extra security because she didn't like the optics. But they didn't call him to testify at the January 6th hearings, which is really weird because you would think the head of the Capitol Police would have been there. No, they actually paraded the guy who shot Ashley Babbitt. It's just all weird, really, 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 really weird. And when they denied the extra security, which actually Andre W, what's going on? We did a live together. Myself and Andre W did a live together and talked about this. There was extra security. I played the video of her admitting responsibility. So all of these things and all this election interference, you can call it denying the results of an election. They did it. I've been saying this since day one. Everything they accuse the right of is what they do, or is what they're doing, or is what they're planning on doing. But we literally did this. So here is Nancy Pelosi admitting fault. Interesting.
Well, again, thank you.
Sorry. First, this is her making excuses and saying that the Republicans can't take responsibility. And then I put the video in of her taking responsibility. It's really interesting what she's done. This is all they do.
For the opportunity to talk about this, because the denial that they had about the election, which was what they were acting upon, and the denial that they've had since then about what happened on January 6th is just appalling. They want to revise history, and and they just can't.
How many times did the members ask, are we prepared? Are we prepared?
So right there, she's saying, I don't know if you guys can hear it, so I'm going to read it anyway. How many times have members asked, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not prepared for the worst. Or we're not, then they said prepare for the
We're
worst.
not prepared for the worst. We're calling the National Guard now.
Oh, mind you, this is live in real time when it was all going down. This was her reaction as everything was going down, as the rioters went in, as the tourists went in. That's what was happening while she's saying this stuff. So there's a documentary that her daughter did, as I talked about before, about that night, and you're going to hear her admit it's her fault.
Should have been here to start out. Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
Listen.
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
that is not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility.
So you heard her earlier talking about them not taking responsibility for January 6th, and here she is taking responsibility because it's true. She was offered the security. She turned it down. And in the car, in real time, as it was all happening, she took responsibility because she knew. The problem is she didn't think about her daughter doing a documentary on her while this was all going down and putting it out on the HBO special. So her daughter releases it and it comes out. It's like, wait a minute, whoa. I thought you were blaming Trump for the lack of security and not being prepared. This is you telling your own daughter that you take responsibility for there not being security. Weird.
Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
that is not a question of how they had been. They don't know.
They don't know.
They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
So again, everything that they've been accusing Trump for, they tried to impeach him for. They tried to get him arrested for what did they say? Sedition is what they were doing. It's what she did. That was her. All they've done is try to interfere with elections and deny elections. Only when they lose, though. When they win, it's the most secure election of all time. Never been more secure election. 85 million votes for a guy who was asleep half the time. You know, he vacationed more during his presidency than any other president in the history of the country. Just do that. Anyway, what they wanted to do is just diminish his presidency, take away his constitutional right to run, to Miss Chicago's point. They couldn't do that because nowhere in there did they have it. He would have had to have been convicted of the incitement, of the insurrection, in order for them to say, okay, he can't run now. Anything else, you can run. That it has nothing to do with it. They wanted to undermine his authority the entire time, which is what they did. And they wanted to take him off of state ballots. You saw several states trying to take him off and exclude him from American citizens being able to vote for who they wanted. They tried everything. Everything. None of it worked. They literally tried to change laws to make it so he can't run again. It's wild. All I want to say, they suspended his voice from several platforms, right smack dab in the middle of an election. This is what they do. You guys probably saw now Zuckerberg's turning back on that. He's going to get rid of those third-party fact checkers, all those left-wing fact checkers who just lied. He's going to get rid of those, and they're going to go with community notes now, just like X. Huh. Interesting. Weird. Anyway, not to mention the media, all they did was do hit jobs on him. I think they put the number out there. It was in the 90s. Like 95% of all coverage on Donald Trump was negative. 90% of all coverage on Hillary, Biden, and Kamala was positive. It's just what they were doing. So you have all these things, and then you start calling them racist, sexist, misogynist, xenophobe, anti-trans. Everything they could come up with to call him is what they called him. He was even Hitler. They literally compared him to a murderer, a homicidal maniac. That's what they did. Oh, wait a minute. Most important thing, they tried to shoot the man. They literally tried everything, including death. But they're upset yesterday, complaining and crying because it's January 6th. Like I said to everybody, happy January 6th day. It's a great day. Yesterday was nice. Beautiful day, beautiful day. They tried to kill him. But he's the one. 3 times. 3 times. So there was the one actual shooting. Then there was the guy on the golf course. And then there was somebody else who supposedly, it was just a plot. He didn't go through with it. He didn't attempt. So all these things to stop this man. But he's the one who was interfering in elections. It's really, really crazy. Oh, yeah. Trudeau's leaving. But anyway. I want to go into the View and let's listen to the co-host and Sonny. Good old Sonny. We're going to watch them talk about the horrors and how scary. And we should never, ever, ever forget. And here's where you're going to see these comparisons, and it is wild. I don't know how anyone can say these things with a straight face unless they believe it, but I don't believe they believe it. You can't convince me that they really believe this.
I think we need to find moral clarity, in this country. And I just remember after January 6th, you had someone like Mitch McConnell placing the blame on January 6th where it belonged, squarely on Donald Trump's shoulders. Mm-hmm. And then you started seeing people backtrack that and losing their moral center. You had Condoleezza Rice, I believe, on this very show saying, we need to move on from January 6th. Mm-hmm. I say no. You don't move on because January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history.
American history. Yes, she's determined. She just wants a win. There's some people on the left who just need a win. They've lost everything. They've lost views. They've lost ratings. They've lost media. They're losing Facebook right now and Instagram. All those fact checks gone. They lost. Well, they didn't have a house. Well, we'll just say they lost the House. They lost the Senate. They lost the executive. They lost everything. The Supreme Court. So they lost the judicial, legislative, and executive branches. They're about to lose several agencies. They definitely lost their dignity. So they're looking for anything. The weird thing is they're still lashing out with his racism charges and sexism charges. But anyway, let's listen to these goofies.
And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery, we need to never forget because past becomes.
Hold on. I don't know if you guys heard that. These are the things that she's comparing to January 6th. Again, Andre Dubb and I did a whole live stream on this. I've done several videos on this. I did a live on this before that one.
And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery, we need to never forget because
slavery, the Holocaust, and World War II, which I assume she's talking about Pearl Harbor. That's what she's comparing January 6th to.
Because past becomes prologue if you forget any race.
I want to ask you, Alyssa, because watching your evolution, when you look back, what goes through your mind?
I've been thinking a lot about this. I'll always be proud of Mike Pence for doing the right thing, but it's also an incredibly low bar. It's simply fulfilling the Constitution, just as Kamala Harris.
She is the resident Republican, supposedly. And I guess she does represent most Republicans. But she's not a conservative by any means. She's not right by any means. And yeah, it's really weird. But you still got to compare that to January 6th. It's insanity. And they say it with a straight face. And no one is either brave enough or smart enough to correct it. Say, okay, wait, what are we doing here? The only person who died January 6th was a cop. Or not a cop, was actually shot by a cop. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we comparing this to millions of people dying in Germany? thousands in Pearl Harbor. What are we doing? Slavery? Really? Really?
Harris is going to do today, as Al Gore did before her. People have lost, and they've put the Constitution over their political ambitions. I have to say, I think there were warning signs, though, that we would be where we are today. And most Americans were not comfortable with January 6th. They thought it was bad. They thought it was awful. But for 4 years, they said, guys, we are hurting. The cost of living is too high. We are concerned about the border. I predicted here 6 months ago we were careening to Donald Trump's inauguration. People needed to listen that, yes, democracy matters, but if you can't pay your bills, it's hard to care about something as nebulous as democracy.
All right. So her reasoning as to why people didn't take January 6th seriously and still voted in Trump was that because we don't have, or because people were hurting financially, they can't really wrap their mind around. Nebulous means cloudy. It means vague. It means not clear. So people who were struggling for gas, food, with inflation, paying their rent, paying their mortgages, that was more important to them than this weird thing that nobody really understands called democracy. Or they just like the job that he did better. I think that's a little bit better of an explanation. To say that we don't understand democracy because we voted for Trump, and this is the woman who's supposed to be on the right. These people are insane. They need somebody real on that show, or I don't know how it's going to last. That is the person who's supposed to be on the right. Americans were worried about finances more than democracy. No. They just didn't like Joe. They didn't like Kamala. That's why. They didn't forego or say to hell with democracy. These people. These are real human beings.
There are people alive today, including my niece, that didn't know 9/11. So when you talk to anyone that was alive during that time, you have a visceral fear response that takes you back there. January 6th and watching the videos that were playing out on screen, it shook you to the core.
So now she's comparing it to 9/11. Thousands of people die. Buildings come crashing down. People getting sick a year after this happened. And they're sitting here comparing that to January 6th, where the only person who died was an actual protester. Yeah, democracy does not mean what everyone else thinks democracy means. To them, democracy means our way. You are a threat to our way. You're a danger to our way. That's what this is. This has nothing to do with democracy. And yes, we're a democratic republic. We're not a pure democracy. So to hear her come, so far we've had World War II, which I assume she's talking about Pearl Harbor because that was here. Holocaust, slavery, and 9/11 all compared to January 6th. It shook me to my core. If it did, she needs to be in a hospital somewhere. This is insanity.
Absolutely. There will be a time when people will not know this unless they read about it, unless they're taught it. And hopefully we continue to show video every year on January 6th. Because I won't tell you how to feel. You just watch that video and you tell me what you see. And I think it's also...
And Andre Dub and I played other videos where there was other perspectives, other things going on that day. This is not the whole of what happened on January 6th. It's just not. And in her mind, it's equal to all these things. I don't understand how, but you heard her. She accidentally said the quiet part out loud. Let me take this watch off. It's getting on my nerves. She's comparing it to those things because they want people in the future to look back and say, oh, wow, that was really bad. How did that happen? And then they could say, Donald Trump. They think this is going to hurt his legacy. Donald Trump, he incited a riot on the Capitol, and it was all on him. And the history books are going to show this. Why? Because they're forcing it. They're forcing this, even though it was nowhere near the scale that they pretend it is. I saw AOC, they just did yesterday, because again, great day, January 6th. Happy January 6th, everybody else who wasn't in here earlier. Belated. A video of AOC saying she thought she was going to die that day. Then they find out she wasn't even there. She wasn't there. Why did she think she was going to die? Oh, she just wanted to add to the dramatics. And then everyone knows every inch of the Pentagon, every inch of the Capitol is covered in, like, they could see everything. It's covered. Cameras can see everything. So when you see her a mile away or half a mile away, pretending to be in this place where this is happening, it's like, well, wait a minute, what is going on? Nancy Pelosi took responsibility, lied about it. This woman is claiming that she was in fear of danger for her life, wasn't there, lied about it. It lets you know how really, truly corrupt the system is. And if you didn't watch my live yesterday, please go watch it. You guys are going to see something really, really disturbing. Because there was a Wall Street Journal report that said they interviewed 50 Biden administrative officials, and 50 of them said that they knew since Biden got elected that spring that he was not all there. And my question was continually, and will keep being, who's been running the country? Because we've been saying that as ha ha ha, Joe's not, he's not there, he's sleeping, ha ha. Sleepy Joe, so funny. Until you hear 50 of the people who worked for him say, yeah, he wasn't running the country. We were picking his interviews. We were picking his questions. He was having bad days. We were canceling events. That's what they were doing. That's terrifying.
A reminder of how political and partisan the country's gotten to a dangerous point, because there's got to be an out of bounds, regardless of what party you're on. And I know a ton of people that are not rewriting this, that may have voted for Donald Trump, that are lifelong Republicans, who still say January 6th was a disgrace. So it is one thing that we can all agree on and need to remember every anniversary.
What do you think?
And you could say it's a disgrace. You can, be disgusted by it. But to compare it to the things that they have, no. It's so insulting. All those people who died in the events that they're talking about, millions of people, just in the couple of comparisons that they made, died. And they can keep a straight face and act disgusted with it. Okay.
Anna.
I'm incredibly grateful to the January 6th committee. I'm incredibly grateful to the members of that committee, including Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, the two Republicans who agreed to serve on it, because no matter how much they try to rewrite it, erase it, whitewash it, just lie about it, the truth is in that report, and it will stand the test of time. I'm also very grateful to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for putting democracy first, Constitution first. A few days ago, Kamala Harris was swearing in as vice president. She swears in the newly elected senators. It included senators like Ted Cruz. It included senators like Dave McCormick from Pennsylvania, who attacked her. But you see, it's not about her. It's about the Constitution.
And every vice president
democracy.
does that.
It's
Constitution? Like the Second Amendment? Like the First Amendment? These are the same people who call for censorship and confiscating guns. Now they're sitting there talking about the Constitution and the crowd's cheering. I'm surprised they're not wearing red, white, and blue.
And she's going to perform her duty today. And she's not just the vice president. She's also the woman who lost to Donald Trump. But she is a mature adult, not a toddler having a tantrum. She is a leader who understands that it is country first. She's going to go to the swearing in.
Mature adult, not a toddler. Lost to a toddler.
and watch him swear in, unlike
Something that he did not
in
do.
4 years.
I think we've
question.
been missing something, if I could say real quick. We're missing something in the moment, though. I heard from a lot of people, because I've testified before the committee, I've testified before the Department of Justice. I met a lot of people who are like, we'll never like January 6th. It was never okay, but they were still voting on the issues that impact them the most. And I think it's very hard if someone says, I had more money when this person was in office, to say, but you have to care about democracy, or you have to care about the attack on the Capitol.
Well, she's saying it again. She's saying it again. You're worried about the economy and inflation, not democracy. This is where her mind went to. Not, you know what, I preferred Trump. It can't be. It's not possible, because she hates Trump. So it's got to be people literally dismiss democracy to vote for somebody. This is insanity. In Chicago said, I was telling people that man had early dementia, Alzheimer's, because the way he was moving, the way he was talking and walking, riding bikes, couldn't listen, was responding to things people weren't saying, shaking imaginary hands, looking for seats that weren't there, like falling asleep, like in the middle of a meeting with people talking. Yeah. Well, if you Google Wall Street Journal report on Biden, you're going to see 50 of his employees said that they were fully aware of his condition, which means for 3.5 years, because they said it started right before the Afghanistan withdrawal. For 3.5 years, we don't know who ran the country, and I don't see how that's legal. I don't see how that's legal. We had wars started under this guy. We had people selling parts of walls that were purchased by me and you. We had the border wide open. Like, who was doing all of this? Who was making all these decisions? Who decided 650 million acres of ocean are no longer allowed to be available for offshore drilling? Who decided this stuff? Who decided last week to send $6 more billion to Ukraine? It's not him. You know how I know? His employees told me so. Who's making these decisions?
Because if you don't have a democracy, you're not going to be getting you're not going to get the job. I mean, we'll never probably ever agree on this, because Joe Biden, you know, the guy who's in now is now the oldest cat. I haven't heard anybody say anything about his cognitive.
I did throughout the whole campaign. I said they're both too old.
Well, you know, but to say he should have gotten out earlier, I don't know that anybody knows when somebody should have done something. That's all now. For me, it's all in the past. The things that were concerning these folks did.
That's all in the past. But January 6th, it just happened. What? To me, that's all in the past. Now let's talk about 4 years ago.
Not concern me, and the things that were concerning me did not concern these folks. So there were lots of reasons why this happened. I just say it happened, and now we move forward. However, I do want to say that with all this attempt to erase stuff, you're really hoping that people are going to willingly be stupid. You
mean like science? How we try to erase science? You mean like the English language, how we just get rid of words? Miss Chicago, are you a birthing person? No? Are they trying to erase the word woman? When you ask what is a woman, why can't they answer? Like, what is she talking about? Who's the ones trying to erase everything? Yeah, now they're both too old, right? But the difference is Trump could do a 3-hour interview with Joe Rogan and be fully aware of what's going on. There's no way Biden could have ever done anything like that remotely. He can't be anywhere for more than an hour. But she's saying, yep, I was just going to say that. She's saying we're all stupid, willingly stupid, because we know the truth. We're going to pretend like we don't and just be stupid because we disagree with her. So you got to be stupid. Makes sense.
Want people to, because there's a lot to really take in here. There's the fact that you've been 12. What is it? Indictments. I mean, there's a lot to.
so many. 34.
You know,
34.
so there's a
So
lot
many.
that you will want people to
34
forget.
counts. Can I ask you what do you think will happen with this country when and if Donald Trump fulfills his promise to exonerate, basically, and pardon those that committed crimes, including assaulting police officers on January 6th? He says he's going to do that on day one.
Yeah, well,
in an effort to basically erase what happened.
What's really interesting about that is because they've been doing these legal notes lately. So when they say a complete lie, she's the one who's supposed to come back and correct it. He clearly said anyone who assaulted police officers or committed actual crimes, he was not going to pardon. And here she is blatantly lying. They didn't do a community note on this. They just move forward like that's the truth. It's a fact. He clearly said that there are some people who need to be in there, but most are there for trespassing. That's it. He didn't say he was going to release people who assaulted police officers.
I know, but you know, this is what he says he's going to do. Let us see if he is able to do it. I don't know that he's going to be able to do it, or how it's going to sit with the American people.
Yeah.
That's the tricky part for him.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know
how people will react to that.
You know,
These are the same people when Hunter Biden got pre-pardoned for everything that happened from 2014 to December. They're saying he can do that. He has the powers. And Sonny jumped in. Oh no, yeah, it's clear. It's in there. The reach of the pardon is that broad and it's that vague. He can do anything he wants. Now they're saying, well, we'll see if he can do it. He shouldn't be able to do that. We're going to see how the people see that. Like the president pardoning his son. Okay.
What's incredibly ironic, though, is that a lot of these people, a lot of these elected Republicans who are trying to erase January 6th, there's video of them on January 7th and January 6th at night condemning Donald Trump.
They have forgotten. They have forgotten. They woke up and it was like, where am I? Who am I?
They have conveniently forgotten, because if you're going to be complicit in supporting Donald Trump and even working for him, like Marco Rubio, for example, you have to erase it, because if not, you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am a hypocrite.
What we have to do is we have to make a decision that we're going to watch and see and react when there is a reason to react. Until you know what you're pissed at, you're not pissed at anything. You're just going like this. And you don't want to do that because your neck will go out.
These people are amazing. So I'm just going to show Joy Reid. They're looking for anything. They need a win. They need a win.
Hey guys, it's Joy. So a lot of you guys have been asking on the socials what my earrings are, and yes, they are fabulous. Here they are. They are elephant earrings, and the elephant is significant for a couple of reasons. Of course, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated symbol is the elephant, but the significance of me wearing them today is that elephants never forget. And today is January 6th, 2025, 4 years since the January 6th insurrection. And we, Americans who actually care about democracy and the real peaceful transfer of power, you know, not coups and insurrections, we will never forget.
Coups? You mean like how they moved Biden out the way against his will? These people, they have to find something. What's going on, Mike Levin? It's so bad. It's so bad. But I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of, or you've seen him? Have you guys ever heard of Jon Cryer? He's an actor. He was in Arrow a long time ago. He was in a TV show with Charlie Sheen, where they're both fathers. 2.5 Men. 2.5 Men. I think that's it. It was a pretty popular show. We just watched it Unhinged Females. Pretty in Pink was his first movie. Anyway, he was on Bill Maher's new show, newish show. What's it called? Club Random. I want to say Club Shay Shay, but I know clearly that's not it. I think it's called Club Random, where he just gets high and talks to people, talks to other celebrities. Jon Cryer was on his show, and that's going to be the majority of the rest of this live. It's fascinating listening to these people talk. And like him or hate him, and I really don't care for Bill Maher, he's at least an honest liberal. I don't agree with hardly anything he says. Maybe 5% of what he says I do agree with. But we know he's intellectually honest. That's what I'll say about him. And I know he believes what he says, because even when his side is going crazy over something, if he disagrees, he says, I disagree. We need to stop doing this. That's how I separate him from most liberals, because most of them don't do that. They stick to the party lines. They just literally run platform talking points. And he doesn't do that. He does have Trump derangement syndrome. No doubt. No doubt. But again, he's, in my opinion, he's honestly wrong. He truly believes what he's saying. He's just wrong. Female Don Lemon. Don Lemon is a female. Never mind. Get that off the screen. Anyway, Bill Maher. Bill Maher had this guy on, and they disagreed on topics, but it's an interesting conversation because you have a leftist, full-on leftist talking, and Bill Maher's like, well, let's not do that. And he's trying to explain to him, this is how you guys lost. And he's starting to separate himself from liberals, even though he's clearly a liberal. His issues aren't their issues.
That is the significance of the earrings today.
Yeah.
Oh, sometimes people say things that trigger me. And of course, we just had the election, and I feel like my conscience is very clear. I warned everybody about Trump, and then I warned them about what would get him reelected, which was stupid wokeness, which is what got him reelected.
Yep.
So I feel my conscience is very clear that I told you, and I told you, and I told you, and I lost fans for it. Lots of the super woke that like I'm not woke enough for them. Yeah, but like I think I had it right. Like,
and he gained a lot of people on the right who, like me, disagree with him, but at least we know we can trust what he's saying is what he believes. There's no intellectual dishonesty with this guy. And I truly believe that.
Like that kind of stuff is what lost the election for the Democrats.
Absolutely.
It's in all.
Maybe part of it. I don't know. I think a lot.
They have polling on it.
I think it's inflation. I think Americans hate inflation.
That certainly was
They hate
part of it.
inflation. They hate riots, and they hate black women.
This is what they say they believe. This is what I mean when I was talking about intellectual honesty and dishonesty. I don't believe that he believes everyone on the right or everyone who voted for Trump hates black women. That's insanity. Those same people were trying to convince you guys that Michelle Obama was the most beautiful first lady ever. Barry Soetoro's wife. They were trying to convince you of how attractive she was. More attractive than Melania, an actual model. Now all of a sudden they hate black women. That doesn't work for me. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand how they can square that if they're honest. But if they're intellectually dishonest, it makes. I did not say that. I'm gonna time you out, Phoenix Rising. I did not say that.
And they hate trans people.
Oh God, John, we're not.
Dude,
gonna...
they just spent hundreds of millions of dollars demonizing trans people, and that's disgusting.
Yeah,
that
we shouldn't talk politics.
So here's why I like Bill Maher. You can rewind it. I did not say that, Phoenix Rising, because he's saying, no, come on, dude, we can't do this. They don't hate black women. They don't hate trans people. That's not what this is. And he's sitting there with a straight face. And he's gonna start doing this really nervous laughter, like a little, because he knows what he's saying is ridiculous, or he doesn't like how Bill Maher's responding. But either way, listen to this. I did not. I'm not even putting that comment up.
Okay, we shouldn't. We shouldn't. Great. We don't have to.
And this, I have this kind of relationship with people on the right also who like, Yeah, it's just going to take so long to even have this discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And I want, just like I would like to deprogram them, I feel like there's things that don't get in your bubble on the left that I would love to deprogram, but it's probably not the place to do it.
Yeah,
but you know,
you can try. if that's how you want to spend your leisure hours.
No, I mean,
deprogramming Ducky. There's a spinoff. There's a spinoff. But I feel like the immigration argument gets sidetracked because people just assume that there's a lot of generalizations about immigrants that dehumanize them and are untrue.
Like what? They're illegal? There's a lot of generalizations about them that aren't true. Like we don't know who they are. Like there's 10 to 15 million of them. Like they're a burden on our social programs that are supposed to be for Americans. You're calling them immigrants. I noticed you didn't call them illegal. Those kind of stigmas that we're putting on them. Maybe not. I don't know. What is he talking about?
You are mad that they let that many immigrants in because you think they what? Increase crime? What? Because they don't. Because they increase
They absolutely do increase crime. You want to know how I know? If you take all the crime from Americans, every single one of them, and you add one illegal who commits a crime, they have increased crime. It's pretty simple. You think they increase crime because they don't. One of them commits a crime, they literally increase crime because it shouldn't have been there. They're not Americans. So it literally does increase crime. To even be able to say that with a straight face is dishonest or extremely stupid.
That they let that many immigrants in because you think they what? Increase crime? What? Because they don't. Because they increase they decrease wages. Well, no, they don't. There's a whole bunch of arguments that anti-immigration people make, and you say, okay, Democrats left them in.
I'm not an anti-immigration people.
You hear the language, anti-immigration. No. I don't know anybody. I've never met a person who's anti-immigration. I've met a lot of people who are anti-illegal immigration. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of immigrants who are anti-illegal immigration. But if you phrase it that way, you can say things with a straight face and justify it. America is it's a nation of immigrants. Yeah. Not illegal immigrants. It's a straw man argument. Nobody's arguing against immigration. They insert that so they can make their arguments and make you feel bad because you're keeping these honest, good, hardworking people out. Then why are they on welfare? Not all of them, of course. But one person on welfare that's illegal is taking away from American citizens. You know why? Because that's for American citizens. So they absolutely increase crime. They absolutely take tax dollars away from my tax dollars away from programs that we're supposed to be paying into. Yeah, everybody keeps counting the number of illegals that Biden let in, forgetting to include the estimated 12 million that were already here. Absolutely. Absolutely. Why are our tax dollars, to Ms. Phoenix's point, going towards somebody who's not supposed to be here? That's for my neighbor who lost their home or lost their job. That's not for an illegal immigrant who just wanted to come here. It's not. And their family? Yeah. Okay.
So you say
what I said was
wait a minute. Okay. So you're the one saying Democrats are letting in immigrants, and they punted it. Okay, you're absolutely right. Immigration did go up during those years.
Well, asylum. They changed the definition of asylum, and they immediately reversed Trump's like stay in Mexico or wait in Mexico or something. He had a different
chill
policy.
out in Mexico.
I mean, chill out in Mexico. Yes.
Just fucking chill, man. Wait there.
And we were still, letting in, as we should. We are a nation of immigrants, and we need immigrants.
You go.
But most Americans felt, including lots of Democrats and people of color, and he won the Latino vote by half. come on, man. Like at a certain point, everybody was around the idea that, okay, immigration, fine, but it has to be somewhat orderly, and not anyone.
Yes, and again,
and asylum had a certain specific meaning, which went up in the air. They overcorrected.
You know, you could be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I also.
You hear him stop himself. He was going to say, "I agree," and then he said, "I could be right. I don't know." All of a sudden, you don't know. You just gave off all these reasons or these things that illegals don't do. Then when he said they overcorrected, you still can't agree with it. Why? Because you think it makes you look some kind of way. And absolutely, they're filling up classrooms of American kids, taking away our resources. Of course, this is a no-brainer. So when you have somebody who's this fringe to the left, they don't align with the American people, and that's why they lost so badly. They picked these weird issues.
Feel like obviously you can say Democrats took too long to address it, but then they did. And Trump, of course, killed it. You know, so he doesn't care about that. And again, you've been outspoken.
That's true too.
And I
I
appreciate that, by the way, for you that you were being outspoken. I appreciate that you lost fans. You know what? They needed more free time. It's better that they don't watch your show.
It actually is.
I'm sorry?
It actually is, because they're the, you know, here's how I know they changed and not me. It used to be the conservatives, the Jerry Falwell types, who you would do a stick up their ass joke about. Now it's the woke. They're the ones with the stick up their ass. They're the ones who don't have a sense of humor. They're the ones who are too sensitive.
Yep.
They're the ones, you know, marching for Hamas, doing things like that.
Again, I think conflating people marching for, you know, to not have Israelis, the IDF carpet bombing is different than marching for Hamas. And yes, Hamas is a terrorist organization. They are a mafia organization. I do not support them in any way.
Well,
again, you know, yes, I know they're going to be saying, wow.
He's going to get to that. Bill Maher's going to say that to him directly.
This is crushing to our movement. We've lost Ducky. But my point being that you know, conflating, you know, those two, and obviously there are outrages on the right and there are outrages on the left, and the right wing media ecosystem, you know, is just a constant outrage engine, and constant.
The right wing media ecosystem just pretends they're outraged. What right wing media is he talking about?
And that is very pernicious to America, to, you know, having a nation.
So I was only watching MSNBC. Not as bad. I mean, the right wing is definitely more dangerous because they don't believe in conceding elections.
Yes,
we are already past what I called, even before he won the first time, a slow-moving coup.
Yes.
Because when one side concedes, as the Democrats just did, and one side we know would not, you're already past democracy. You are already, I mean, they make it sound like, oh, you know, we had a smooth election. Yeah, smooth when they win. That's not good enough for me. It has to be smooth when whoever wins.
Yes.
You just talked about Scott Jennings saying that they have contested every single presidential election that the Republicans won since 1988. I looked it up. I verified it. It is a fact. What are they talking about right now? But again, I disagree with Bill Maher on a lot of things, but at least I know he truly believes what he's saying is true.
I agree.
So I have this in perspective. I think so. But what drives them crazy, the reason why they are willing to do these basically traitorous extra-constitutional things like not concede elections is because they think
it's traitorous to not concede an election. It took Al Gore, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks to concede the 2000 election. So was he a traitor? I know for a fact Bill Maher voted for him because I remember him talking about it. Was he a traitor?
Left is so crazy that whatever they have to do to retain power is worth it, because if the left takes over, they will destroy life as we know it. I don't think that's true, but when you see some of the things that the left has championed lately, you do wonder. And like I said on my show last week, you lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person.
Okay, that's funny, but I disagree.
That he's
But
he's a
no,
crazy
you're right.
person.
I agree that he's
and
crazy.
they lost the
He's
contest.
crazy.
And you're right, and they lost the contest. So yeah, it's funny, and you're right. But but I'm going to reel that back in. This is the moment that it's all curdling. I was doing great up until this moment. No, I'm actually enjoying myself a great deal.
Hey, we can cut all the political part out of it if you want.
Oh no, whatever.
No, I'm not
whatever
kidding.
you're comfortable with.
The only reason you would offer that is if you know it's making somebody look bad. And him running his mouth is just making him look like a complete idiot. So any projects that he does, people are going to remember this stuff. So he's trying to help him out right now. Now, this earns him points in Hollywood. But in the box office, if he does a movie or a TV show, it's going to hurt him. Because he's out of step. He just called more than half the country a racist. They won't vote for a black woman. They hate black women, is what he said. You hate trans people. This is what he said. I don't know how he doesn't think this is going to have ramifications. Bill Maher clearly knows it will, which is why he's saying, hey, we can cut this political stuff out. One editor away. He's like, no, this is good. This is good. I love this kind of stuff.
I'm happy to talk. Actually, one of the reasons that I'm happy to talk about it, is it's a terrifying time in our history.
Terrifying.
Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has removed the guardrails in a terrifying way. Now the Republicans there's no meaningful resistance. There was in the first term, there was a certain normalcy bias that they had. But
I gutted the left like a fish last week.
Thanks.
You some of the woke people who are no longer fans would have hated it.
Okay.
Zillions of other people loved it because they deserved it. But I'm just bringing this up to say the concluding remarks after I told them that the Democratic Party had turned into a Portlandia sketch.
Again, I felt like they tacked to the right quite a bit in this. They tacked to the right on immigration.
You're a Hollywood in the bubble, blue sky,
dude.
Exactly. I know this town.
You're a man of the people, Bill. Is that it?
Much.
Oh, really? And
you're part of the Hollywood community that is embraced. I am not.
Yep.
And that's okay.
I disagree. We embrace you.
No.
I almost literally embraced you when you came in the room. I don't agree,
right.
Bill Maher. I do not agree.
We won't get off on that.
Okay.
But we will get off. Produced by Chuck Lorre.
I understand why a lot of actors don't want to talk about politics. I get it.
The only actors who don't want to talk about politics are on the right. Every liberal talks politics. All of them. What is he talking about? The only ones who don't say anything, those are the ones you can say, oh, okay, this guy's cool. He's trying to stay out of it, not just because he knows he'll be thrown to the wolves and shunned, but because he knows, like Jordan, Republicans wear sneakers too. So you could say Republicans and Democrats watch movies too. Why would anyone want to do this? Even the ones on the right, when they do that, I'm like, it's cool that they agree with me, but I don't understand why are you doing this? Unless you're coming from a straight up Christian perspective. I don't know why else people start doing that. It's kind of annoying. Rob Schneider's one of those he's a funny guy, but he goes too much in on the politics, and I don't understand it. He does have enough to buy all of Hollywood. I think he can. He does have enough to. He's in the hundreds of billions now, man. It's insanity. Yes, he is. Well, he's not a double talking leftist. I disagree, and I talked about this earlier. He is an intellectually dishonest liberal, leftist. He does call his side out, and he did it when he didn't have to. He was, especially when it comes to the trans stuff, especially when it came to late-term abortion. He spoke on this stuff. So he is absolutely a leftist. I've never seen him double talk. Never. He's been calling it out the whole time. Trying to think of there was one episode where he really literally got booed from his own crowd. That's when they started like bleeding away from him. And this was before the election, long before the election. So it's not like he's doing it for convenience. But yeah, I don't like how smug he is. He's an elitist, but he's stating his true opinion, which I have no issues with. Zero issues with. Yep, Jordan knew. Yep.
Because as an artist, you want people to just enjoy your art. And I still enjoy. There's plenty of people whose politics I strongly disagree with, but I still enjoy their art. I mean, there's John Voight movies that I will love till the day I die because he's an amazing actor.
And he's not a monster because
he's not a monster. No, I know him actually. I mean, I've met him. And
I'm all for
he's always asking about my mom. In a nice way. Don't worry, I'm not casting aspersions. He was like, "How's your mother?" Oh well, John, she's fine. But anyway, I apologize.
No, but just finishing what I was saying before about, yes, I gutted them, but only so I could get to the end where I said, I'm mad at the Democrats because the issues that are important to me, because that's always a big thing in elections, what issues are important to
Bill Maher,
to you, the voter? My issues are democracy and the environment. And now, because the Democrats did what I told them not to do, and went to crazy town way too often.
Yes, they did.
Now you blew it. You blew it. You blew it.
I did not. But go ahead.
Lost everything.
Wow.
So I have no one to champion and defend my issues.
But I would say
all
all of the wokeness that outraged you so much was Republican framing, was right-wing media framing.
Oh,
that
God.
I mean, again,
John,
yes,
that's
I
not
am
the
telling you
case.
this.
No.
I am. Yes, that
It's
is the
not
case.
framing.
That is the case.
I do
Bill
this
Maher.
I do this for a living.
Okay.
I have a whole staff to vet this. I'm very suspicious of everything from the left or the right. So if you're telling me that I've been hoodwinked,
I'm not telling you you've been hoodwinked.
I haven't.
I think everybody deals with framing in different ways. You can either deal with the frame and say, "No, I'm afraid you're wrong," which I've seen you do. You say you can,
correct.
Or you can say, "Wait, I don't even believe in the framing. I disagree with the whole framing of the question."
I believe in facts. I believe, for example, we're going to get into this now.
Okay,
here we go. But like, America is the only country that does transgender policy the way we do now. We used to be closer to Sweden.
I'm sorry, you got to be more specific.
Kids can.
He knows he's on YouTube, so he's trying to be careful, while Cryer is trying to say, "Well, I need details." No, he's trying not to give details. That's the whole point, Goofy.
And, what do you call gender affirmation? The operation.
Okay, you understand, first of all, that the biggest, the most prevalent gender affirming surgery is breast removal, tissue removal for cisgender male boys.
Okay, but
so
we're not
understand
talking about that.
Okay, but the reason I'm bringing it up is because if people are okay with people are always saying we don't want young people making those decisions for lifelong decisions.
So he does that too, but he will have on all of his opposition. You don't see that anywhere on the left. Anywhere. He will have Shapiro, Jordan Peterson. He's had like every person on the right. Really, he's had Larry Elder, like the strongest of strongest debaters he's had. And even when he's getting beat up, he's still being honest. And there's a lot of things that they agree on. But I say he won't call it what it is because he doesn't agree with us on what it is. He disagrees on what it is. That's why he doesn't do it. But he lost a ton of his own audience. It's not like he wanted that. He didn't want that. I've literally seen him getting booed on his own show. So there's I just disagree with a lot what he says, especially when it starts coming like during COVID. There's a perfect example. During COVID, he was 100% boom, Mr. Vaccine. But as time went on, he started learning and saying, okay, well, you know what? How did we get it wrong? Is what he said. He didn't say, he didn't double down, triple down. You just need to get more boosters. He started saying, well, wait a minute, Fauci, how did you get this wrong? So he called out it. It was not popular to do what he was doing when he was doing it on the left. It was just not. And he did it. So I gave him kudos. I still don't like him as a person, but I think he's being honest from his perspective. I just don't agree with hardly anything.
When they're still very young. I mean, that seems to be what people are
well, that's where Europe, where all the liberal countries that we used to be aligned with on this issue a few years ago, we are not. I'm just saying, let's not even get into the details.
Honestly,
let's just get into the fact. Just start with the fact
Tell me
that
the facts.
America does this in a way nobody else does. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying it's necessarily definitely wrong, although I do think it is, but no other country does self-diagnosis by children, no age limit.
That's not what's occurring.
That is what is occurring.
It's not occurring.
Or it's
Because, and by the way,
occurring.
the thing you're talking about is a thing called the Dutch Protocol, which obviously started in Holland.
Started in Holland. Yes, I'm familiar.
Yes, okay. So Europe, so you're saying the U.S. doesn't use the things that Europe does, but
which they abandoned.
Exactly.
They did not abandon it.
Yeah, they did.
And we can argue about the Cass review as well. I'm aware of it. Yes, which did not, which its conclusions did not match its own data. But okay, we'll talk about that later if you're open to
that's
that.
Too in the weeds.
Okay, but see, that's what I'm saying is the truth is in the weeds, dude. And unfortunately,
for the audience, too in the weeds.
Okay,
I mean,
we don't care.
It's and maybe for me at this point, because I don't have the Cass report right in my mind. Many people who are saying, "What is that?" A British woman who is a pediatrician and also was this was her field of study.
There was a big controversy about
did a report,
the NHS. Yes, about the NHS transgender care, and unfortunately, the NHS is under a lot of scrutiny for many things because national health care is often very controversial because people have to.
Got to pause. Andre Dub. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very, 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 very much. Always appreciate it. I really, really genuinely appreciate that, sir. Genuinely.
Prioritize very specific care for specific people, and it's hard to do that in a governmental way.
Correct.
But
I've always wondered about this. I've always been like, how do they do? Like, I don't know how you can do that. Like, I've always had to put my leg like this on my knee. I don't know how they it's all the way crossed over too. That is interesting. I've always, I never heard anyone talk about that. I've never seen it mentioned. I've always been confused when I see that. Like, what are they? How do they? Anyway, sorry, Phoenix. Sorry, Phoenix Rising. That's a. And this isn't us being, petty or anything. It's I don't know how they can do that. All right, I'm just gonna play.
There was a lot of people saying that kids who were going through gender dysphoria were not getting enough care before they were making lifelong decisions, and that's a concern, absolutely. But the report said that they were actually getting enough care, but they as a society were using it as a way to say we don't want this to even be a possibility for people under 18.
This guy's crazy. Yeah, so ankles is fine. I can put my ankle on my knee, but what he's doing, I don't understand that. I don't even want to get too much into that, but I don't understand that.
And so at any rate.
Right, and that's too far. And it's a shame that we can't ever just meet in the middle of what's common sense. like Trump, I see they're not letting somebody use the bathroom.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, it's just,
Again,
can we just not do stupid on either side?
But
You
see,
know,
what I'm saying is that parents who have kids who are going through severe gender dysphoria have very limited options to begin with, and they're usually trying to think about the survival of their child.
So your kid can't survive unless they change genders? Is that what that's what it sounds like he's saying to me. I wasn't gonna say it, Mike. I don't want to. It goes a whole different topic. It is very interesting though, because I do ankle to knee, and almost always right to left, but I don't understand what he's doing. That's wild.
And so limiting what they have access to,
and
when there actually is an enormous amount of statistical evidence that supported the Dutch protocols, limit. I think.
So yes, I'm going to go back up to what Mel said here. He said, "You notice when someone overspeaks, like this guy, the less informed they are on the issue." Yes, which is why he's talking about something that was literally abandoned, like Bill Maher said, by the Dutch. They said, yeah, this is not working. This is not good. The data does not support what we're doing. We cannot harm children. And he's saying the data didn't support them stopping. But what is he talking about? And how do they know? So again, this condition has always been regarded as a mental issue. This is a psychiatry thing. This is not an actual like medical thing. I guess psychiatry they can diagnose and issue meds. But either way, it has never been the case where preteens, like we're seeing now, can just decide I'm a girl or I'm a boy. They're chopping breasts off of little girls who are going to grow up. And there is a sadistic, demonic element that you would have to have in your life to think that this is okay. And I'm not trying to be like the leftists saying, oh, you're stupid because you voted for the other side. No. They're chopping up children. There are parents who are allowing their kids. My son is 6. He still walks around thinking he's Godzilla. He still walks around. One day he's Godzilla. The next day he's Knuckles from Sonic. The next day he's just a regular dinosaur. To allow him to change his gender, it's insane. 18 is the age for everything else. That should be the age where you want to destroy your body. Go ahead, do it. You want to smoke, you want to whatever it is you want to do to your body, it's your right. But when you're talking about these kids, even up to 10, like my nephew, the nephew that I have here, who I take care of, is not capable of grasping changing a gender. It's insanity. It's sick. And the kid just needs therapy. That's all this is. So, and if you take him to a therapist and they say he has gender dysphoria, now I'm going to question you. How do you know? How do you know? Last week he was the not Moana, the character that The Rock plays. So now you're telling me he can choose his gender forever. It will impact him forever. He can't just snap out of it and now become Godzilla. He can't just become King Kong. He has to stay a girl for the rest of his life. They are mutilating kids. If you have not seen What is a Woman, Matt Walsh talks to a woman who actually chemically castrates children. This is, I don't know what else it is, what else it could be called. I don't understand this. Yeah, this is, yeah. All of this. I got to be careful. Yes, all of this, all of these comments, all of them. If an 11-year-old can't work, drive, join the military, drink, marry, then they can't pick. They can't even. I did a story on one of my lives about a 10-year-old boy who walked a mile to the store. This is in the country. Everybody knew who he was. And the mom got arrested for allowing a 10-year-old boy to walk to the store. But he can change himself to a girl. This is what it is. This is what it is. Leave the kids alone. Absolutely. You have to leave the kids alone. Let them make their choice when they're an adult. Absolutely. Educate. I don't know when you'd start educating on that, because a lot of kids grow out of this stuff. And there's a lot of kids there are a lot of boys who are just more feminine. There are a lot of girls who are more, we used to just call them tomboyish. They're tomboys. She's tomboyish. And a lot of them grow out of that. You see models saying, yeah, I was a tomboy when I was younger. If you leave it up to people like Cryer, Jon Cryer, he would encourage her to change her gender. That's what I'm getting out of this. It's sick. It's not wrong. It's not stupid. It's not insanity. It's sick. This is just my opinion. I'm stating my opinions right now. I'm not monetized yet. I'm getting close. Getting close. Share. I'm getting close. I'm almost at 500, and I'm almost at my view hours. But this is sick. It just is. These are the same people who call Karl Malone, yep, for impregnating a 13-year-old when he was 19. Yep. But they'll allow that 13-year-old to chop off her body parts and make it so that she can never have children, even when she's in her 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Well, 50s wasn't going to happen anyway. But it's sick.
I think it's wrong to limit their for government to limit what they feel is the appropriate medical treatment.
There are cases where it is appropriate, I think.
Okay.
I think this is the standard liberal position. And then there's like the people who won't admit that some of this is social contagion. Some of this is just a TikTok trend that got out of hand.
I don't agree.
And that's okay. And that's what friends are for.
Okay.
To be able to come to it and go, okay, we've elucidated our points enough. People get where we're coming from, and they just, they'll trust me. In this town, everybody, you'll be the big champion.
I think Mel, Andre, I can do a live on this. I'll just take it down like before, or when I get monetized, that'll be one of those videos I got to pull. We can absolutely. This needs to be a real conversation anyway. We're not disparaging anybody. We're just speaking our opinions on a topic. It's a debatable topic. There's no hard science. I can actually get the footage of Matt Walsh talking to this woman who chemically castrates kids. I'll absolutely have a panel on this. I'm not scared of this topic. I just don't want to ruin a regular video like this or a regular live like this. So when I become monetized, I can still get off of this one. But I will do a live specifically on this. Absolutely. So if you guys want to have this conversation, I'll have this conversation all day. And then, like I said, I can come with I have old videos that I did on this. They got taken down. I had to dispute them. I have 3 videos that YouTube took down, and I got them to put them back up. It's educational. But I will absolutely talk about this one. Full live stream. The thumbnail might just have my face on it. But the topic will be the topic. What is the correct age? Because to me, it's sick when you start talking about kids who can't do anything else. Like, I'm responsible for this child until they're out of high school. There's truancy if this kid doesn't go to school, but there's not any repercussions other than they're dismembering themselves. Does that make any sense to anybody? Anyway.
You own Bill Maher because they just want to agree with you. And my take on this, just as like super friend to friend now, is just like the people in this town, they just want to be warriors, social justice warriors. So they're just always looking for a cause. And it's so much more often about them than the cause itself. Not that they're not sincere about stuff.
So what he just said is, so I just watched, I want to say, let's see. I want to say 20 hours. No, it would be 26 hours, 30 hours, close to 30 hours. Jordan Peterson did a series, and it was on Exodus, right? And he had scholars. He had like Dennis Prager, Ben Shapiro, who are definitely scholars on Judaism. Then he had Catholic scholars, and then he had just Christians. Then he had these people, and it was a round table, and they went through line for line everything in Exodus. Amazing, amazing. It's the most fascinating. Well, Jordan Peterson did one on Genesis also, but this one was more fascinating because you have all these guys sitting around a table, like 6, 7 guys talk, and they're just talking about Exodus. Every single line they went down. And one thing that they were talking about, which was huge, is people who don't have anything to believe in will look for things and they will create their own religions. So, and it's usually atheists who say they're not religious, or the people who say I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I'm not criticizing you. What I'm saying is you're going to look for something. And to what he just said,
people in this town, they just want to be warriors, social justice warriors. So they're just always looking for a cause. And it's so much more often about them than the cause itself. Not that there's not.
Human beings are naturally looking for a reason, looking for a purpose. And what typically we do is we think about the creator. And if you don't believe in that, you're going to look for something to have purpose. And that's what a lot of these people in Hollywood are. That's what they do. They completely reject a faith of some kind, and then they create a new one, or they latch on to another one. And the next thing you know, they're paying people for infinite knowledge and Scientology. You just created a religion. You were an atheist yesterday. So what he's talking about is absolutely real. They will look for something. They will look for a cause, and they will be all in, and they will be genuine. What they don't understand is there are other avenues for this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to attach yourself to a trans movement that's mutilating children. You don't have to do that. You don't have to sacrifice morality, because that's what they're doing. There's so many of them doing this. And it's like, why are they doing this? And when they were talking about that, and again, these are brilliant people talking, and they're all, they're making legitimate cases for this. And I'm like, oh, that does make sense. Where do you get morality from? Whether you believe or not, you still act like you believe. And it's really, really interesting. I don't know anybody else who has time like that. My commute's very long. So one episode a day I was watching, and I think it's 13, maybe 14. I don't know, maybe 15, whatever. But it's fascinating, and you that has to be the only thing you're doing, because it's really, 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 really deep. But if you get a chance to check that out, that's, man. But what he's talking about is what I learned from listening to that. Like, so these people are they're going to find a faith. They won't call it that, but they're going to find one, and that's what they do.
Not sincere about stuff, but like what bugs Dave Chappelle so much about the trans thing, I think it's the fact that they want to make it the social justice issue of their generation, and it just doesn't compare to other ones. It's important. It's an issue. I think it's great we live in a time when trans people can be, respected and protected, but you're asking too much often to rewrite like the idea that when someone is born, there is a default setting for humans, male and female.
Yep.
Not everyone is. Now, a real conservative would say, no, everyone is. I would never say that.
But
I think
there are
what a liberal says
there are chromosomal
is, yes,
spectrums.
there's a default. There's a default setting.
A real conservative would say you were born this way, and they would stick to psychology, whatever it is, that says the medical definitions that say this is a mental health. This needs to be resolved in that realm. You don't chop off body parts. And he's talking about hermaphrodite. That's not the same thing. That's somebody who's born both. And some parents will choose one, and then as they grow up, they wanted to be the other. It's not the same thing. What they're
But then there's a whole other section, and that's great, and we should protect those people. But don't
fraction of
pretend there
1%.
isn't also a default setting. And you can't rewrite the world so that every baby is just a jump ball. Oh, it could be anything. No, if it's got a dick, it's probably a boy.
Yeah.
And if it's
Probably.
not, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in a compassionate way.
Well, yeah,
But we'll also be apprised of the idea that children don't know shit about anything. Yes, sometimes it is obvious, and we should address it that way. But I mean, kids, Christ Almighty! I mean, the idea that I would, as a child, would have had to have dealt with something like this.
Well, again, the people that go through it don't say this is the life I want. No parent wants to be in the midst of those choices. It's
Some
terrifying.
kids these days actually just do want to be trans.
I
It's
don't
cooler,
agree.
John.
I don't
it's
agree.
a thing.
Nope.
Oh,
I don't agree.
come on.
I don't agree with
How do you not
Bill
agree?
Maher. That's the name of the show tonight.
Well, your eyes are not open to that, I
Okay.
think.
Well,
okay. There are some kids, especially, why is it like so much more prevalent, like here than Indiana?
Well,
are they suppressing it there? Maybe a little.
Yeah, there's
But
a societal
but
suppression, but it's like left-handedism. Left-handed.
What's going on? Spare me your angst. How you been? I heard the name. I don't know who that is. I don't know who Magnus Hirschfeld is. Oh, you guys probably can't see it here on YouTube. Spare me your angst asked, do you know who Magnus Hirschfeld is? I have heard the name. I think I heard Candace Owens talking about it. I don't know what he did or who he was. I'll look him up, though. I'll definitely look him up. But he's comparing trans issues to when they used to train kids to write and stick to right-handedness. But the reason they were doing that, why they were doing that, is because everything is made for right-handed. So if you're going to play baseball, we'll just take, for instance, and you're going to wear the catcher's mitt, they would just train you to throw with the right hand and catch with the left. Like, that's nothing like the trans issue. It's just not. It's nothing like that. He said it's the book burning. And okay. I'll look into that. I'll definitely look into that.
Being left-handed was suppressed for for thousands of years amongst human beings. But once it was apparently in the 30s, scientists basically said there's no left-handedness doesn't actually do anything bad.
Right.
Left-handedness shot up. People just stopped training themselves to be right-handed. And this is
people weren't training themselves to be right-handed. Dang it! I accidentally clicked it all the way over. They were being trained to be right-handed.
I believe again that there was a worldwide reaction to the inflation bump after.
Crap! I don't know how far I went.
Far with this issue.
Well, I'll tell you. I can tell you why they feel like that. If it helps you, they feel like that because when their very capability of being a person is questioned, when just the idea that they exist is questioned.
Have you ever heard somebody say trans people don't exist? No. I've never heard that. Like, what? We heard that lady say that to Josh Hawley. So you're saying they don't exist? Nobody's saying they don't exist.
Agreed.
They are dehumanized, and they say that it's bigotry. Now again, somebody calling you a bigot, you can take offense and get angry at that.
I do.
Okay. But again, you're fine. Somebody called you a bigot. People call me all kinds of awful things.
Really? What do they call you? Who could be mad at you?
People are mad at me. You're mad.
I call them dumb. I'd call them dumb. But it's okay to call someone a bigot because they think that something is a mental health issue, even though it's always been classified in every medical journal as a mental health issue. Now, if you say it, you're a bigot? And he's saying, don't worry about it. Let him call you a bigot. Man, you better go on somewhere. I'm not a bigot. I'm just, because I disagree with you and this new age, whatever this is.
No, you're not.
I'm not mad. I actually admire you for engaging.
Oh, well, happy to.
You didn't have to.
No, I didn't. It's true. What the
But it's
fuck am I
kind of-
doing
it's
here?
kind of fun, fun to let it out, isn't it?
Yeah, I have, the trans people in my life feel at this point really frightened,
Who are the trans people in your life, if I may ask?
Well, no, frankly, that's my own business, and
Okay,
it's not,
that's fine. I just,
but it is. They're in a place where they're personally terrified, right?
So the trans people in his life, how many can he possibly know? It's a fraction of 1%. All of the ones in my life are terrified. It's the scariest time in American history for them. It would be a real problem somebody called me cis anything. I don't accept that term. I don't even know what that means. They say it means straight male, whatever. I don't accept that. Just call me what I am. You don't have to define it. It's already been defined. I'm a man. My wife is a woman. Don't call her a chest feeder. Don't call her what's the other one I said earlier? Birthing person? No, that's disrespectful. Don't call her cis. That's not what she is. That used to be disparaging back in the day when you would call, they would call the alphabet community would call straight women breeders. That's disgusting. It sounds disgusting because it is. It's not what they are. But you guys are okay with calling them chest feeders. That's better. Birthing persons. That's not diminishing. Like, what are we doing here? We're changing the language. So Spare Me Your Ink said the books were on interesting, on transgenderism and surgeries. The Tavistock Institute and transgenderism is also a research topic. I'm going to go back and write all this stuff down, as I'm definitely interested in it. And if we're going to be doing a live on it, which I need to know what I'm talking about anyway. The trans people, yeah, come on. Yeah, I have black, exactly. The trans people in my life is the new I have lots of black friends. Yep. All the trans people in my life, they're terrified. How many can you possibly know? I bet you there's less trans people than there are amputees. How many amputees do you know? This is silly.
Now, because not only was this election was the outrage cycle of this particular election targeted them, but it was accepted, and people accept that it's like, okay, yeah, we dehumanized them. It was politics.
Well, another
whatever.
reason why the Democrats shouldn't have blown it.
Well, again,
so
you can blame them all you want. I
do.
believe again that there is a worldwide reaction to the inflation bump after COVID. Everybody, as I said, Americans hate inflation.
You keep telling yourself that, and you'll lose the next one too. And if they lose,
I'm not running, but okay.
No, well, I mean, the party that it's funny. We voted for the same person.
Yes.
We, are generally supportive of the same party.
Mm-hmm.
We just have very different views on like how to deal with that.
Yeah, we do. But again, I felt like the Democrats, in the very limited amount of time they had to fight this election, did cant to the right a lot.
The time has nothing to do with it. You could do it in 2 weeks. If anything, she had too much time. She was doing good for the first 2 months, the joy shit. And then it just, it's so antiquated, this idea that people need more than, she had 107 days. It would have been better if she had 7. Other countries don't take 100 days.
I will 100% agree with you that it takes way too long and it's ridiculous.
Whose fault is it that she had too little time? Whose fault is that? Are you going to blame Biden? No, because he's a hero. Whose fault is it that she had too little time? She was on the ticket. She wasn't putting herself out there. She wasn't campaigning. So now the excuse is they had too little time when they're the ones who anointed her as their candidate. They literally subverted democracy. She wasn't picked. Nobody picked her. Biden gave her his delegates. And the only reason he was allowed to do that is because she was already on the ticket as his vice president. Otherwise, they were going to have to, there was a really serious legal matter at hand as to how they were going to pick their next candidate. They were going to do an entire thing at the DNC. They were going to do it like they were literally going to have everyone campaigning at the DNC. What's going on, G? Will? What's going on, Easy? And I don't understand why they're acting like, well, she didn't have any time, because her campaign was saying the same thing. They think they're going to run again next year, which is really funny. Here, you guys want to hear something interesting? Trust me, this is not a campaign finance violation, but I think it was $1.25 billion they raised for Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. They overspent by $20 million. She got a book deal for $20 million. Just enough to get her out of trouble. She spent over $1 billion. 1.25, close to $1.5 billion. And she wanted to run a country of $36 trillion debt. But $1 billion overspent by $20 million magically gets a book deal worth $20 million. As if we didn't just hear her story for the last 4 or 5 months. What's the book going to say that we don't know? Candace Owens exposed the rest of her life. But she got just enough to cover her debt. That is so weird. Wow. Coincidence.
We get it. We get it quickly. See, this is my thing with my friends on the right. I keep saying to them, you guys say your big theory is he just says a lot of shit. Okay, we're going to put the says a lot of shit doctrine to the test because that's not good enough for me. People who say shit usually do it.
Yeah.
And, and
I don't know that a lot of people that voted for him heard some of the shit that he was saying. Because he just yammers on with that word salad,
That's his superpower.
I know, it is.
He's so all over the map about everything that nobody takes him literally about anything, which is the biggest advantage a politician could ever have.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest advantage a politician could ever have is having all of the media support them. But hey, whatever.
You don't really believe what I'm saying anyway. You just trust me that I have the instincts of, let's not live in crazy town, and we won't get over there again.
Okay.
Let's not live in Jon Cryerville. Wink, wink.
It's fun in Jon Cryerville.
The Democrats got to be the elitists.
But again, I don't agree with that.
But that's what America. But
I get it. I know you don't. That's the right wing framing.
But that's how.
Right there.
That's not right wing framing.
Okay.
That's your indoctrination. You've got to get out of MSNBC all day long.
I don't watch on MSNBC.
Well, they're watching you.
Okay.
Because you're channeling them.
Gosh.
I mean, that is not right wing framing.
It's not.
Yes,
That's
it
just
is.
how America sees it.
I'm sorry, but the pro-union party, the Democrats,
the Democrats are not seen as the working party anymore.
They're not seen as it because of the right-wing framing, Bill Maher.
That is.
This guy's unhinged. He says it's right-wing framing for Americans to see him as elitist, while he's sitting here talking down on Americans, saying you're a bigot if you don't believe that boys can be girls and girls can be boys. He's literally saying you're a racist. He said at the beginning, you're a racist. He said America, we learned is racist because they didn't vote for Kamala. And he doesn't see that as elitist. We heard the other lady say that America voted in Trump because of inflation, which is fine. And she said, but we were willing to dismiss democracy to do it. It cannot be that we just agreed with his policy ideas. We agreed with how he ran the country before, and we preferred him over her. It can't be that. We set aside democracy to pick this guy because of inflation. That's not elitist. That's not elitist at all. We heard Whoopi earlier say that the right pretends to be stupid so they don't have to deal with reality. That's not elitist. He's obsessed saying that the right wing labeled the left elite. Or we were there during COVID. And we remember all of the left literally promoting Pfizer and Moderna, literally promoting Big Pharma. We watched them support teachers staying out of school for almost a year. In several states, the teachers union, several states. That's what we saw. We see this. We see them promoting big government as the answer to everything. But the right is calling them elitist. They're supporting the military-industrial complex. They want war with Iran. They are fighting a war between Ukraine and Russia. They are the elitists. But that's me. I'm just framing it that way so people believe it. Because why? They're so dumb they're going to fall for it? I guess. What's going on, Evo?
That is part of it,
So,
of course.
yes, that is part
but
of it.
they're going to take advantage of that. That's yes. You're right. There is a certain amount of that you would expect the opposition party to try to take advantage of, but they give them these openings. Yeah. Do I understand why Sherrod Brown, who's very pro-union, lost in Ohio, where there's a lot of union jobs? Some of that is because of propaganda, and some of that is because they just didn't see what his championing got for them.
Well, but I'm going to say this one more time, and you're going to get so annoyed with me. And inflation hit very hard, and their salaries did not catch up. Boom. That's why.
You know what?
This is a man who doesn't know any real people, who hasn't talked to any real people, who doesn't have any real people in his family. He's just giving his theories. That's what this is. That's what all of this is. So he's going to just spout these theories as if they're facts, as if anyone has told him this nonsense. This is ridiculous. This is absolute ridiculousness. Anyway. But yes, Spare Me Your Ink said the CIA has been in Hollywood for a long time. Oh, yeah. Since the beginning. Promoted propaganda, patriotism to increase voluntary military enrollment and to dehumanize those declared the enemy. So what do? You're dehumanizing a trans person because you don't subscribe to relabeling everything. You're dehumanizing. They use that language. I'm not going to get into to what happened in New Orleans or that Tesla that blew up. I'm not going to get into any of that because you just brought up the CIA and I immediately start thinking about MK Ultra. But anyway,
Denzel has a great.
I'm sorry.
Quote. Denzel Washington. If you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one.
Yes. Well,
so inflation wasn't good, but like if you want to look at for excuses, you'll find it. If you want to look in the mirror and ever win an election again, follow me if you want to live.
Well, again, I'm not saying there should not be introspection. I think the Democrats and the left are too much are the kings of introspection. But
it's insane.
No, I'm saying obviously we're in a different fight now because and by the way, I'm not a Democrat. I'm a registered independent.
This is what they all say. You guys notice that now? Everybody, nobody on the left are Democrats anymore. They're all registered independents. But all they do is vote for the left. And they do this to try. They think that this gives them credibility. The problem is we see that you're all doing it, so it doesn't work. It's like a talking point. If everyone is saying the same thing, he's sharp, he's sharp, he's sharp, he's sharp. At some point, we're all going to be like, all right, this is a talking point. We're going to ignore it. You lose credibility by using the same verbiage, and that's what it is. Oh, spare me your angst. We need to talk. Absolutely, 100%. Michael Aquino was a military general that led MK Ultra for a while. He was also a Satanist. All of it was built on Satanism. All of it. You want to talk about Charles Manson? All of that stuff? NASA? Yeah, I'm not even. Yeah. Yes. Anyway.
Okay. But I believe the fight now is to retain something of a democracy, something of a civil democracy.
I am an independent, but
the Democratic Republic.
Never voted for the Republicans.
Oh, I have. So
there it is. You see that? You see that, Mel? Did you hear him? That's what I'm talking about. He's honest. He said, "Yes, I'm a registered independent, but I've never voted for anyone but a Democrat." Nobody else. They don't do this. None of them do this. But he just said it outright. That's why, even if I disagree with 95, 96, 97% of what he says, at least he's intellectually honest and he says what he believes. A lot of them are scared to say what they believe. They'll hide it because they know it's radical. It's just what they do.
Different. I really.
Who did you vote for?
I'm not going to say.
Okay.
But no, you know what? I am going to say because it deserves some introspection on my part. It was Rudy Giuliani in New York City.
You don't have to be ashamed of it.
He
was a good mayor.
He did change how New Yorkers felt about the city. He took problems that people felt were just intractable in New York City and made people feel like, oh, we can do something about these
things. It's so
things.
funny because
and that I'm grateful for.
What he did was unwoke some bullshit that was going on in the city. He was a Republican mayor. So it sounds like when these issues were in your life personally, you kind of liked it when the Rudy... why is it... But okay, that's easy to do. But engage with the actual thought why it's wrong. Engage with that.
I'm sorry.
This is all of Hollywood. When it affects them, all of a sudden they have armed security. When it doesn't affect them, you shouldn't have a gun. When it affects them, we need to fix this homeless problem. When it's in your neighborhood, what are you talking about? There's not enough houses. When it affects them and Martha's Vineyard and a bunch of illegals get dropped off, they're gone the next day they were gone. But when it's in your neighborhood, what are you talking about? They can just use that school over there. The kids can have a week off. If it doesn't impact them directly, they don't care. This is what elitism is. And he just caught them. So when it affects you, it's good. This is why I say he doesn't have any real people that he speaks to.
Sorry? I'm saying it sounds like when you were living in New York and these issues impacted you directly,
these issues impact me directly now, and I'm not voting for Trump.
No, because you're rich now. You're rich. So you're not like on the street. But Rudy Giuliani, you liked him because he made New York more livable, which was less crime.
Well, he
get the squeegee guys.
They introduced broken windows policing. I don't know why the people in Trump's orbit gather there and are dismantled and destroy their lives and throw their lives away to be loyal to this man. I don't understand it. I don't get the appeal of Trump.
People are destroying their lives to be loyal to Trump. Here's how I see it. And you guys may not agree here, but just hear me out. Hear me out. I say he destroyed his life to be loyal to me. This man was a billionaire. He is a billionaire. He put his entire life under the microscope. He has people saying he wants to have sex with his daughter. He put his kids under the microscope. They've all had to testify under oath for nonsense. They called him a traitor. They insult his wife, called her a whore. They say Michelle Sotoro is more attractive than his wife. They say he hates the country. They say he's a Russian accent, or not Russian accent, a Russian asset. He's weak. The Chinese own him. All of these things this billionaire didn't have to deal with. He got shot. He's been getting threatened to be put in prison. The man's in his 80s. It's essentially would be a life sentence. Instead of saying that I'm loyal to him, it never crosses their mind that this man went through all of this to run again. He's loyal to me. And in turn, he gets my vote. I don't work for him. Why would I need to be loyal to Trump? To me, that makes no sense at all. He thinks people are ruining their lives to be loyal to Trump, and it never crossed his mind all that this man has been through. They're literally sentencing him on Friday. We're 3 days away from him being sentenced. For what? For a misdemeanor that was expired as a misdemeanor as far as the statute of limitations. They turned it into a felony, but didn't say how they were going to turn it into a felony. And they never did until the closing arguments. So he couldn't have a defense. I played Mark Geragos talking about all this. Dude's an infamous attorney for celebrities, for these people. He's a liberal. And he said it was absolutely nonsense. Trump went through all of this for me, for the taxpayer. He is assigning one of the, if not the smartest man in the world, and a really, really, really smart businessman to cut junk out so I save money. So my taxes don't just disappear off into Ukraine. He's loyal to this country, which means he's loyal to me, not the other way around. This guy does not understand that. And I don't understand why he doesn't understand that. Legitimately don't. Because that man has been through hell and back, and he's in his 80s. Or is he 80 yet? I think it's in his 80s. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to do this again. They all started loving him again when he was gone. And if he stayed out, he wouldn't have went through half of the stuff that he's gone through. Got back in. It's not for power. The man's had power his whole life. It's for the country. He's loyal to this country. And they think that I'm loyal to him. It's completely backwards. It's completely backwards. Yeah. People like him lay their loyalty literally in a party, even though he calls himself an independent. That's nonsense. That they couldn't even say that Joe Biden lost his mind last year. No, Mel, you need to watch my whole live yesterday. They've known since 2021 that he lost his mind. And they believe Wine Mom gave coherent responses. That's blind loyalty. It's unhinged loyalty. But it's insane to say that we're loyal to him. I can't understand why they're so loyal to this guy. Just let him die. Let him go to prison. That's true loyalty. It's like, all right, yeah, vote blue no matter who. But they're talking about loyalty on the other side. Oh, I love it. I love it. These people, and he's just genuinely seems confused, but I don't believe he's an honest person.
Trump as a politician, in any respect, but obviously I'm outvoted, literally. So I'm certainly not the kind of politician it's worth throwing your life away on.
Throw your life away.
But plenty of people want to line up to do it.
No one has been harder on Donald Trump, or tweeted at me a million times, never complimentary. But I do understand. I certainly understand why he won, and we don't have to go back over that. Yes. Some of it was what the Republicans do, but they ran a smarter campaign.
And those policies are coming from a person who's loyal to me. Donald Trump has several policies, one being on abortion, several several alphabet community policies that he does not move forward with because he knows that's not what his base does not want. He's more liberal, but he ran on a platform for us. He's loyal to this country. So he's putting his personal beliefs to the side and saying, okay, you know what? I don't agree with this, but my base would kill me. He said that so many times. He said it so many times. I may have to make a compilation of that. Well, they'll really get mad at me. I can't do that. That's not what my people want. That's loyalty. When you're willing to do something that you don't even agree with because you've made a commitment to somebody else, that's your job. You have to do your job first.
As they often do. And some of us, what would the Democrats do? But there are moments where I look at him and he'll do something where I go, first of all, I understand why it works, but then sometimes I actually like it. Like when he was talking at the night he won, he was talking about the Elon's rocket that came back and they caught it. He's like, can Russia do it? Can China do it? No. America did it, and it took it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? That's not bad to me that someone likes America. I'm not going to judge anything until it happens. This country needed a slap in the face and a colonic. He would not be the guy I would have chosen to deliver the colonic, but I get the need for the colonic. It's not like we're not bloated and sclerotic and wrapped up in a lot of dumb things that we do. And we'll see. I mean, they're disruptors. They certainly got that. That's what the Democrats asked for when they invited this disaster is, you know, now we'll find out what it's like to have Bozo the Clown be the Secretary of Education. It's so beyond parody.
Yes, the circus is literally in town with the Trump cabinet. But it is interesting because to me, it makes it all the more clear that the Republican project for the last 50 years is to delegitimize and dismantle the United States federal government.
Yeah, we don't like big government. That's always been the plan. The government's not supposed to be what it is today. There's more people who are working for. I think I can't remember the exact number. I don't want to lie. But most of the job growth that happened during the Biden administration was government jobs, federal and state government jobs, not private. That's not good. It's not.
That I mean, you've got Grover Norquist.
Not dismantle, but Grover Norquist once said, "Strangle it in the bathtub."
Exactly.
That's too far. But is it super bloated? Yes. Even Al Gore back in the day was put in charge of doing what Elon exactly says he's going to do now. So they got it back in the 90s that this thing is out of control. Government is completely out of control.
But I believe
also true.
I believe it's a Trojan horse just to dismantle the things that they don't like.
Yes. Good point. So I'm saying my issues are the environment and democracy.
Yes.
And the environment is my issue is going to suffer horribly because these clowns are in there.
You're right.
With that said, I have one last thing. I'm going to get out of here. If anybody wanted to come up and talk about that insanity, you can. I will. Andre Dub said he wants to do a panel on the whole trans issue. Mel, if you want to come up, anybody wants to come up, I'm going to do one on that. I'm just going to focus specifically on that topic for a live. That way, when monetization comes, because I'm getting really, really close, I could just put that one on private because they won't. That'll be a problem. That would be a problem. He said Mel Dub seems triggered. No, he's good. I have no issue talking about it. Like I said, I'll do it on mine. I have no issue talking about it. But this is how delusional and dishonest Hollywood is. This is not all. This is a lot of liberals saying Trump gets elected, I'm leaving. Okay. Right.
Donald Trump wins, I'm going to be out of the country.
Get him out.
Listen, if he wins, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back.
Get him out of here.
I will move to Spain.
Get the hell out of here.
Where would you go? Canada.
Bye-bye. Bye.
I'm 100% moving to Canada. I love Canada.
Bye-bye, darling.
Get out.
I'd be an expatriate.
Bye-bye.
Trump win, I'm moving to Africa.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Eddie.
Any Republican gets nominated, I'm going to move to Canada with my entire family.
Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Maybe it's time for me to move.
Bye-bye. Okay?
I'm reserving my ticket to get out of here if you win.
Bye-bye. See you sometime.
I have a house in Spain that is going to be ready right after the election.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Fine, I'm up.
Bye. Bing.
Siberia.
Ding. Bye-bye.
Nova Scotia.
Bye-bye. Enjoy yourself.
I'm definitely moving to Canada.
Bye-bye.
Straight to hell.
Goddamn right.
Oh, Iceland.
Bye-bye.
France.
Bye-bye.
Asia's pretty cool.
Bye-bye. Have fun.
Like a mental hospital for a while.
She's an MRF. What's that? Mentally retarded female.
I would move to the Caribbean.
Bye. Enjoy yourself.
Bahamas.
Go have a good day. Bye.
White.
Bye-bye.
I've always wanted to live in Italy.
That's it. Bye-bye. Wave goodbye. Bye-bye.
It's great. Random Libs is who made that. I don't know if that was TikTok or if that was Ellen is the only one who actually left. Madonna did too. She left years ago. I think 2016. Ellen left, but I think she's got some Diddy issues as to why she left. Pretty sure her issues are a little different. Just a tad. It's a good way to leave and not have your lawyer call you, say, hey, what are you doing? Why'd you leave? If anyone wants to talk about it. Otherwise, I'm gonna start dropping people's links. The people who are in here. I'll do that anyway. Let's see. Mel Dub is in here. If you're not subscribed to him, please do. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I said so we'll do it. Mel Dub, great content creator. He did a really good live earlier. Yeah, Diddy, exactly, Mel. Exactly. It was a good way or good excuse for her to get out without, like I said, having her lawyers say, hey, why'd you leave? You know you're wanted for questioning, right? Bolo was in here earlier. Subscribe to Bolo. Bolo VNR. That's his 2.0, I believe. It says backup channel. I believe that's his 2.0, which really should be his main channel. Taryn was in here. Taryn got his computer fixed. He's been doing some lives, setting up. I think it's a gaming. It better be a gaming computer. You don't need all that power for nothing. But gaming. This beautiful one wasn't in here, but great community wall. She's got one of the best community walls out there. She puts really informative stuff, very cool stuff. And then obviously there's Kwame Brown Bus Life. There it is. Otherwise, anybody else who I follow, you can find in my description of every video and every live stream that I do. But those are the people who are in here today. If you guys need any merch and you want to create your own merch, G Will, who is in the chat, he does stuff. He makes stuff for people. And he's got a graphics guy who can help you guys come up with ideas. His company is called STGdesigns. So again, custom apparel, t-shirts, embroidery, coffee mugs, tumblers. He does all that stuff. If you need anything like that, hit him up. This is his Instagram. Instagram. Man, look at Mel. He went so far into the live and didn't get timed out. Wow. I was impressed, Mel. I really was. Mel just got timed out. I don't know what he said. I mean, I can't look at it, but I don't know what he said. He just got timed out. See, the Mavs beat LA with no really? Oof, that's bad. Well, you know who's going live about that in the morning. KB's gonna be talking about that one. Without their two best players. That's bad. Was everybody playing for the Lakers? How did that happen? They must have played horrible. But anyway, I'm OSpeaks. Like, subscribe, share. I'm still like 10 away from 500, and I'm not too far by 17 points. Oh man! But I'm not too far from being monetized, and as far as the watch hours. Oh, let me take that down. Mel will be back in 5 minutes. I'll be gone by then. Shout out to Mel. He knows the rules. No beef stuff in here. But anyway. Yeah, you guys can share. That would be amazing. I'm so close. And I never thought I'd be near this, especially in the beginning. When I was just doing videos out of my car and then I started doing the editing and all that stuff, I thought that's what I was going to be doing, especially because I kept losing videos, or I didn't lose them. They were taking them down for violations because the verbiage I was using. So I had to adjust. I just never thought I would get here. Never. But I'm so close. I wish I could go live more. You guys noticed I went yesterday and today. Work schedule just is not working for me to get home and go live. But please, please, please share. Suggest the people who would disagree, who would agree. Either way, I'm grateful for everything. Andre Dub, obviously, I appreciate you, sir. Stream sponsor for the day. So Taryn the Black, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Phoenix Rising, Mike Nice, Mel Dub, no matter what. Even though he's on timeout right now. Appreciate you, sir. I already said Mike Nice. There was another Mike in here earlier. Mike Levin. Mike Levin. I knew there was another Mike. Mike Levin, appreciate you. G. Will, thank you, sir. Spare me your angst over on Rumble. I appreciate you, sir, as always. Evo the artist, thank you, sir, for stopping in. Always good to see you, man. Always good to see you. Salute, Taryn. Let's see, Kay's Soprano was in here. Another one comes back all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Easy Did It stop by. Appreciate you, sir. I think I said G Will. G Will. I know I gave his link, but G Will, I believe, was in here earlier. Appreciate you, appreciate you. Who else? Who else? Who else? Andre Dub, of course. Again, I thanked you for the Cash App, but I appreciate you for always coming in here supporting it, and hopefully we can set up that live and talk about that other issue, because that would be great. Talking about the trans issue. That's serious. It's sick. But anyway, I think I got everyone. I'm almost at the top. 5 minutes is winding down before Mel can come back, so I got to get off. Let's see. Oh, Miss Chicago. Miss Chicago was in here. Thank you, young lady. Appreciate you always stopping by. I said Bolo when I was dropping the link, but Bolo, thanks for stopping by also. I believe that's everybody. Phoenix Rising, I got to say again, just because I always say her multiple times. And with that, thank you guys. I'm going to go out. I think I got some more Outcasts. It's almost always Outcasts. Almost always. I got to get my own music that won't be copyright stricken when I get monetized. So I got to find something. I won't be able to do this anymore. Later.